Hot off the press, HL7 International just announced the launch of a new credentialing program for FHIR. And in this video, we're going to jump into the details of it. So currently, I'm actually enrolled in HL7's 4-week comprehensive proficiency exam preparation course and literally just registered for the HL7 FHIR R4 proficiency exam yesterday. So this announcement was quite interesting to say the least. Anyways, let's dive into the details of this announcement, and I'm mainly going to read directly from the website so I don't misrepresent anything they are conveying. The first part of the website talks about the pilot overview. And again, this is where they introduce HL7's new credentialing program, which is a series of 5 credentials. A basic credential called FHIR Foundation, and then 4 advanced role-oriented credentials focused on different aspects of professional work in interoperability using HL7 FHIR. And then they say the first step in their new program will be to pilot the HL7 FHIR Foundation exam. And then before widely releasing the test to the public, validation will be done using advanced psychometric techniques. They talk more about the foundation exam as well, and then they talk about it in the sense that they say the purpose of this foundation exam is to identify candidates that can demonstrate a basic understanding of the FHIR specifications and FHIR, working with resources, RESTful operations, conformance and terminology and security basics. This entry-level certification is a first step for candidates with an IT background pursuing a career in FHIR-based interoperability. Next, they go into the recommendations for candidates that plan to take the exam. And they say, I assume at minimum, candidates should have 6 months of experience using FHIR, which they note this is their entry-level credential, and although there is no formal barriers for newcomers, without 6 months of experience, it can be very unlikely that a candidate will actually be able to pass the exam. Second, they say that the candidate should understand the basic concepts of XML and JSON, for which they note the lack of understanding the basic concepts of that will make implementation very difficult. And so understanding the basic concepts is highly recommended before sitting for the foundation exam. And the last recommendation they have is understanding the basic concepts of RESTful APIs, which they note RESTful APIs are the most common exchange method for FHIR implementation, and it is required by most regulations. Basic understanding of the concepts is not mandatory, but they recommend it before sitting for the exam. They also provide a list of competencies and a guide to prepare for the exam in the HL7 FHIR Foundation Exam Study Guide, which I'll just link in the description below. The next section talks about formal training, and they say that for formal training, HL7 does provide a list of courses that may help candidates in preparing for the exam. And of those, they list number 1, the HL7 FHIR Fundamentals course, which I took, I think a year and a half ago. The HL7 FHIR R4 Proficiency Exam Preparation course, which I'm currently taking. And then the last course is the HL7 FHIR Certification Bundle, which I haven't taken and I'm not sure if I would take for a variety of reasons. They also note that while training is helpful, no training replaces knowledge and application of the specification, which I 100% agree with. Like most anything though, I think people usually learn best when they have hands-on experience in working with said thing. Next, they go into the pilot exam a bit more, which I won't talk about in this video. You can just kind of read more about it in the exam itself in the link in the description. It's mainly about logistics and things like information about the cost, which is $100. They do also note that the HL7 FHIR R4 Proficiency Exam can be taken until May 16, 2024, and that the R4 Proficiency Exam is not equivalent to the new Foundation exam regarding prereqs for advanced credentialing. Currently, I'll plan to take the R4 exam sometime in April since I already paid the registration yesterday. I treat it like a new practice before taking this new foundation exam, which I do plan on applying to take the pilot exam, as I think it could be pretty fun and almost like a practice of some sorts of my own FHIR knowledge. Now, the last part of this is about the credentialing program as a whole. And I think this was probably the most interesting part because they go into the 4 advanced roles that you can pursue after taking the foundation certification. And those 4 roles are: number 1, the architect. The FHIR architect is needed to participate in the design of the data exchange and other components and how they are connected and exposed. The next is the developer. The FHIR developer has the skills required to create FHIR-based solutions using major computer languages and available open source libraries. The third is the analyst. The FHIR analyst understands healthcare clinical, administrative, and financial workflows and knows how to use FHIR Exchange for the implementation from patient administration to clinical quality measures. And the last is the profiler. The FHIR profiler is required to model data, create and publish constraints for FHIR Exchange, including the creation of FHIR implementation guides using the FISH language and the implementation guide publisher, or the FHIR IG publisher. And at the very bottom, they do provide timelines about the subsequent launches, which looks like it will occur over the next few months up until next year. And then I'll share that in the screen right here. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this launch from HL7 and hope to test run some of these materials and then circle back and let you guys know how my experience goes. And that wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
People knew her by her will to make it whatever she put her mind to.